I hate waking up early. Alright, bags packed. Let's go. Alright, let's send to town. I'll explain more when we get in there. I'm about to go take some raw sunrise pictures for today's video. Alright, let's go. So many runners on this track. Frick, it looks so good. Look. So the whole point of this morning was to get some raw pictures, but also JPEG, taking them both simultaneously. So I can do a little bit of a comparison between raw and JPEG. In case I didn't make that clear on my way here or when I got here. Now the first question on everyone's mind is really, what is RAW and what's the difference between RAW and JPEG? So when people say they're taking a photo in RAW or they're using RAW on their camera, they basically set their camera to take photos instead of when the image processes to JPEG, instead of it going to JPEG, it goes to RAW. Now it's the same, it's the exact same process. When you take a photo, you get your camera, bang, take the photo. The camera processes all the information that it sees, puts it into like a small little file, I don't know what it does on the card, but it sends it to your card and it makes an image process, and it's either JPEG or RAW depending on what you tell your camera to shoot it in. Another example of an image process is PNG, and that's where you can do it in like Photoshop or on a computer or something, and you basically save the file and you want it to be transparent. So you save it as PNG because the PNG will tell every other program when you put it into it that this certain component has certain bits that need to be transparent, and that's how, and then whatever you put it in, like, I don't know, Final Cut or something, it'll say, oh, this part of the image has transparent parts, and it'll put it in and then you'll be able to see it transparent. Because it is saved as a PNG, which is the image process. So the RAW file is basically when you take a photo on your camera and your camera will preserve all the information, or at least most of the information, with your your contrast and your sharpness, and it grabs basically grabs everything that it sees and puts it straight into the file and straight onto your card. Now a JPEG, when it takes a photo, will grab everything that it sees, pull it in together, but then compress it down and then chuck it into your card as a JPEG. So when people are talking about the difference between RAW and JPEG, it's generally that JPEG is more like compressed file. The file is not as rich and sharp and contrast, doesn't have all that stuff because it's been compressed, whereas the RAW is exactly what the camera sees, bang, straight on the card, a few little things done here and there, but practically bang, straight onto it, and that's what you have. So a week ago I did a wedding with a friend, and it was my first solo wedding, and we were kind of both doing it together. He was doing video, I was doing photo, he was kind of telling me what to do. Most of it I did by myself. And of course I shot the whole thing on RAW so I could edit the photos better, pull some colors out and stuff, and make the photos look good. And this friend of mine, about, I think it was a week before the wedding, or maybe, oh no, sorry, maybe a month or something. Anyway, he was telling me about why I should be shooting in RAW. And I had shot in RAW before, my major work was shot in RAW, and I've shot a few other photos in RAW, But normally I've been just shooting in JPEG. The more I started to shoot in RAW, I was starting to think, why have I not been doing this from the start? It is when I'm going to edit my photos, I'll have a photo that's underexposed, I can pull it up and make it way better than it was, salvage it if I just quickly took it and I was lazy. I'm able to pull colors from different things, I'm able to control different colors in different areas. It's just so much better than JPEG. Don't get me wrong, JPEG's still good. But if you're looking for something that brings up your photography a little bit and lets you edit your photos a bit better, definitely start shooting in RAW. So I've never really thought of myself as being good at explaining things, and I'm not that great at listening either. So I feel you if you're kind of a little bit lost or I haven't really brought that across to you properly. So what I did was this morning I went out and took photos, as you saw before. I set my camera to shoot in RAW and JPEG at the same time. So it takes a photo, processes it in a JPEG, processes it in a RAW, chucks it on the card, and then I'm able to have both. And so what I'm going to do is on the computer, I'm going to chuck them in Lightroom, and I'm going to show you both of them, put them side by side, edit both of them the same way, and show you the kind of different things I can do. Give you a kind of visual aid, because I know that I definitely, when I kind of see someone do something or see what they're talking about, definitely helps me besides doing it. So hopefully this will get right in there. All right, let's do it. Gone ahead and grabbed all the photos. As you can see, there is JPEG and RAW. I'm gonna go sort through them all so we don't have them all. I'm gonna chuck them into Lightroom, then I'm gonna edit them all up, and then we're gonna have a look and compare them. So when you're in this view and you see them all, it's kind of hard to tell which one's RAW and which one's the JPEG. So if you go into the single view and I go into this photo and I hit I on my keyboard, it brings up the info, and this shows me the settings of what I took the photo in, and it shows me that it's RAW. I can also see that it's RAW because of the file name as well. So we'll compare these two images first. This is the RAW, this is the JPEG. So if you look, especially at the sky, with the sky, this has a lot more detail of the color of the sky, and you go to the JPEG and you kind of lose it a bit. And basically just more detail is in the RAW than in the JPEG. You kind of lose it when you're over in the JPEG. Whereas the RAW has a lot of that detail and color that the JPEG just doesn't have. So this one's really interesting. This is the RAW, and this is the JPEG. So this one was interesting because when I had to bring down the highlights so I could see the detail in the sky, it made this kind of loss of color, and like kind of just the quality kind of went down in that sky because I had to bring down the highlights so significantly. Whereas with the RAW image, when I brought down the highlights, we were left with this kind of thing here where it's not as ugly as the other thing. We haven't lost any quality, and we can still kind of see the detail in the sky. Whereas with the JPEG, because we had to bring it down so significantly, the data in the JPEG just couldn't handle it, and we resulted with this. So a similar thing happened over here with this photo. This is the RAW, and this is the JPEG. Now, other than the color difference between them that you can see, you can also see with the sky, because again, the highlights were brought down to see the detail in the sun, the color change around the sky is a bit different. This one keeps the color the same, that orangey tinge, where this has that yellowy tinge then goes to orange. And that's, again, because we've had to bring down the highlights in the sky. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through all the photos, just flick through them, and then you'll be able to see the differences between the RAWs and the JPEGs. That's kind of helped you get your head around what RAW is, what kind of different ways you can edit, how different it looks compared to a JPEG, what you can do with different photos. And yeah, maybe you might start shooting in RAW. Hopefully, that's the whole point of this video. Why aren't you shooting in RAW? Because you should be. Anyway, welcome to 2019. This is the first video of 2019. So I said I'd upload like a month later or 2 weeks. I don't know how far it is from the other video. I feel like it's a month. But I think I'm gonna start doing like the month, like this is January, so we get January, February, March, April, kind of go along in that month way, and then maybe jump to every 2 weeks or something. I don't know, we'll see. I just wanna kind of build myself up and get myself more confident with making videos, talking to a camera, editing, all that kind of stuff, doing it on the fly. If I get kind of quicker and a little bit better at it, I'll definitely start to do it more often. But at the moment, I feel like I've set myself a year goal to make a video every month. And if I'm doing more than that, then I'm gonna be freaking stoked. So these count as the videos a month. Other stuff I'm gonna do is gonna count as video. So anything that I do, I wanna be making a video a month. I wanna at least be doing something in every month, that is video wise instead of just focusing on just my photography, because I want to start building both up at the same time. And this is kind of helping build my video side, and then my photos are kind of, well, they're kind of intertwined in this episode anyway, so it kind of worked out. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you next month or next week, who knows, could be any time, and I'll catch you later.